We are 2 games into the NBA Finals, and so far the Boston Celtics have bent the Dallas Mavericks over and gave them a swift beating in Game 1 and Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Boston has set the tone for the first 2 games, and now we head back to Dallas for Game 3. Before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot in these YouTube streets. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. Anyways, let's get it. In Game 1, the Celtics took an early and dominating lead against the Mavericks, and surprisingly enough, Porzingis was a battery that jolted the Celtics. He had 18 points in the first half alone. Porzingis went utterly crazy and reminded us that when he isn't in the hospital bed, that he's actually a quality player. And I'll speak for myself when I say this, because the dude is in a wheelchair and crutches 98% of the time, that I damn near forgot how good he actually was. I'm remembering the time when he was playing on the Knicks, and dude was a monster, honestly. Now, by halftime of Game 1, it looked like this game was going to get out of hand real quick. The Celtics dominated on the offensive and defensive front and led 62-43 at halftime, up 29 points. Now, of course, no lead in the NBA is really safe anymore, and the Mavericks ended up cutting the lead to 8 points in the third quarter, and for a moment, it almost looked like the comeback was a real possibility, but by the end of the third quarter, the Celtics extended the lead and effectively put the game to bed. Now, what were the lead takeaways from Game 1? Well, for one, having Kristaps Porzingis back in the lineup was not only an offensive jolt to Game 1, but he was also a huge defensive presence in the paint. Dallas could not get any easy buckets in the paint at all, and those signature lobs to Lively and Gafford were almost non-existent. Kyrie couldn't get any shots to fall on the night, and he finished 6 of 19 with only 12 points in the entire game. Very unlike Kyrie. And I must say that Kyrie does seem a little bit flustered since he's come back to Boston to play. Even though he kind of does brush it off and take little jabs at the Boston Celtics fans, it does seem like he hasn't been in the mental space and the killer mindset that he usually is in, and these 2 games have shown it. There's just something about Boston, man. I mean, since Kyrie stepped on Lucky, he has been literally 0-11 against the Boston Celtics. He is damn near cursed. There's some sort of mental block there that Kyrie needs to get over if the Mavs have any chance of winning this series and getting the championship. Now, for Game 1, Mavs got absolutely cleaned up, and they honestly looked completely unprepared, but overall this was still a great individual performance for Luka Doncic, who became the first player since Tim Duncan, the big fundamental, to score 30 points and 10 rebounds in their first finals appearance. So even though the Mavs got blown out in Game 1, at least there was one silver lining, but I'm sure Luka would rather have that win than that meaningless record. Anyways, Celtics take Game 1. So the Dallas Mavericks get slapped around in Boston's home court, and we head to Game 2. And there's no way Kyrie can struggle like this in back-to-back games, right? Right? Well, wrong. In Game 2, the game was much closer through 4 quarters, but Kyrie still only finished with 16 points. Now, in a situation where the rest of your bench is making up for your lack of stars not performing, you have a chance at winning. But against this Boston team, they are far too deep for you to play like this and still get out of there with a dub. And to be honest, if the Mavs do lose this series, you can come back to this game because they had a perfect opportunity to steal one in Boston and they just couldn't finish. First off, the Boston Celtics started off shooting 0 for 10 from 3. They didn't even hit a single 3-pointer until the end of the second quarter, and they somehow still managed to finish the half up 3 points. You have players like Jrue Holiday stepping up on both the offensive and the defensive end to make key stops and key plays. And real talk, the Milwaukee Bucks made a huge mistake by trading Jrue Holiday. He's a veteran presence and a former champion. At this point, he's essential to Boston. I think he's a large part of the reason why Boston seems so calm and so composed while they've been playing in both of these games. Both Jrue and Jalen have been playing lockdown defense on Kyrie. I mean, that man can barely breathe whenever he gets the ball. Every single point Kyrie gets is through maximum effort at this point. And again, Luka finished with a 30-point triple-double, and it still wasn't enough to get the win when usually that would be enough for them to have a comfortable win against any other team. So the Dallas Mavericks really do have their work cut out for them, man. I mean, Jason Tatum didn't even have that much of a phenomenal game. I mean, he finished with 18 points. He had some key defensive plays, but in terms of offense, he was not a world beater. And even so, You still had other players who were able to pick up the slack and have key defensive plays. Jaylen Brown has been playing out of his mind, Drew Holiday, and you have other players like Porzingis and Devin White who can come and pick up the slack whenever the other players aren't playing up to par. So the Celtics are just so deep that it's going to be extremely hard to beat them if all their players on the bench, Kyrie and Luka, aren't playing lights out. And overall, I think the Celtics handled their business. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They won both games at home. The supporting cast has been playing phenomenal basketball on the defensive side. And even though Jason Tatum still hasn't had that signature game, they've won both games by a pretty comfortable margin. So if I'm a Celtics fan, if I'm the Boston Celtics players, I'm pretty confident going into game 3. Now, for the Dallas Mavericks, I think Kyrie is really going to be the X factor that determines whether Dallas can win or lose this series moving forward. The fact that Kyrie wasn't playing his game and wasn't hitting those regular shots like he used to caused Luka to play more hero ball, try to force more shots that didn't need to be forced, and end up making turnovers that didn't need to be have. And for the Mavs to win game 3, that supporting cast is going to have to get more involved. I think Jason Kidd is going to have to find a way to implement more movement into their game and to try to scheme PJ Washington and other players open, because the way they're playing this iso ball right now, it's not going to work against the Celtics. But at least Dallas Mavericks will have the home side advantage in game 3, so maybe that will be able to help them. And honestly, the difficulty degree in both Kyrie and Luka's shots is just way too ridiculous, man. Like the work rate they have to do to get these shots off is just ridiculous. They're making crazy shots and they shouldn't have to work this hard. There should be easy buckets that they're able to make, and they should be able to mismatch some of their other players open so they can get easy buckets as well too. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think. Can the Mavs take game 3 and game 4 at home? And how many games do you think this series will go to? I honestly think it's going to go to a game 7. I think each team will be able to defend their home court, and then game 7 will be up in the air, flat out based on whoever wants it the most that night. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, click here to watch my previous NBA video, and I'm out.